Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Children. I hope you're safe and well. I'm delighted to be joined by my good friend, Andreas Mattern, who is, and let me just check this, the VP of Strategy and Product Management for the Pharma division at Syntegon. And today we are going to be talking about the challenges and trends in terms of manufacturing antibiotics. And the reason we're doing that is because Syntegon have just launched today, in fact, a new webinar series looking at that particular issue. And as they'd launched it, I asked them this morning, hey, do you fancy doing a chat around it? And Andreas was volunteered to do it at such short notice. So that's the wonders of social media. I found out this morning and we're doing it this afternoon. Isn't that fantastic? Andreas, thank you for volunteering. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Very glad to be back to see you again. Looking forward to actually seeing you in person sometime. Maybe next time on an exhibition, but once more on video then.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you anyway, Andreas. Before we start talking about the challenge around antibiotics, so very quickly, would you mind giving a quick overview of Syntegon for those who are not familiar with the company and also your own role within it?
Okay, so Syntegon used to be known as the Bosch packaging division. We are one of the, if not the largest provider of equipment for processing and packaging of pharmaceuticals, both on the solid and the liquid side. And since beginning of last year, we are independent under our own brand, Syntegon. Yeah, and I'm responsible for the overall product management and strategy for our pharma business. Also kind of a pharma trend scout, looking at where our customers are going, what the future needs are, and then coordinating our internal product management team to address them.
Brilliant. Well, let's touch on that for a second, though, because you and I caught up at the beginning of this year, and we talked about how you would see the year turning out in 2021. So has the year really turned out how you expected it to be? And what trends, if any, have you seen develop over the last 10 months or so?
Okay, yeah, one of my predictions was actually wrong in this case because I thought the year would be more normal, but it's still crazy like last year. Yeah, it's an exciting time to be in this business. I think overall it's good, and we're seeing a return to normalcy. I would say we had tremendous spikes in the vial business and anything related directly to COVID. Also, for example, capsule fillers for nutraceuticals, which everybody was popping vitamins. So these areas were doing very well, and some other areas without a COVID exposure were partly slowing down because people were a bit hesitant on investment and keep the cash flow together. But now we see that these projects are picking up again. The holds are lifting, and yeah, I think we're back to a more normal world, I would say, in this case.
Right. And I know you put in a lot of new systems in place in terms of how you looked after your customers virtually and supported them. Will a lot of those carry on in the new world that we have post-COVID?
Yes, of course. I mean, we have. I think we will travel a lot less. I think nothing really is a substitute for a personal meeting from time to time. You need to also look into each other's eyes and build trust, especially in such a business. But honestly, of course, we have tremendous efficiency gains, and a lot of those things will be here to stay. Remote support capabilities, remote FATs, and so on, especially maybe for smaller equipment. So yeah, improvements will stay.
Right. Now, let's talk about antibiotics and the challenges in terms of manufacturing antibiotics. You've launched this series. Why have you launched this series?
Well, we picked up quite a few discussions on the topic of antibiotics. During the pandemic, the topic of supply chain and reshoring and taking manufacturing back, because that the manufacturing of many essential medicines was concentrated, especially in China, India, especially API production. And many countries are discussing, and even launching initiatives to reshore.
Can I start you for a second? What does reshore actually mean? Forgive me, for a lay person like me, what do you mean by reshoring?
Well, it's the opposite of offshoring. So instead of giving it to someone else across the ocean, you take it back to your own to your local country and
right.
to ensure supply chain. And yeah, we saw discussions on that, and it's actually an area which really shows our broad competences as Syntegon, because we don't just have one equipment in such a production chain, but we really can address the whole thing. And then I got together with my team and said, look, this is really a good opportunity as a showcase what we can do as a united company and not just individual sites. And this is why we started a couple of weeks ago organize this webinar series. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Fantastic. So as someone who's within the industry, so what are some of the issues then in terms of the supply chain and antibiotics?
Well, antibiotics is it's an essential medicine, so it has to be extremely cheap to produce, a very cost-efficient production. On the other hand, it's actually not very easy to produce, because it is, it's not highly toxic, but it is definitely an OEB2, 3 kind of product at least, and some of the more modern ones maybe even higher. So you need to have operator protection. You need to really produce at high efficiency, low cost. And this is very well suited to our capabilities.
Right, but you said that obviously there's some challenges around supply chain. So what are the challenges around supply chain then in terms of antibiotics and authenticity as well?
No, the challenges were in the supply chain when the products were no longer exported. There was an export ban on some of the finished products, on the APIs in essential medicines, especially in the beginning of the pandemic. And that made people think, maybe we should make sure that either we stockpile a lot or we have production again under our control. And some investments have been done. For example, there has been some public funding for a modernization at the Sandoz plant in Kundl in Austria. So things like this are happening. Also, the US has a couple of initiatives. India has a big initiative also on the API and chemicals production side. So there are activities all over the world really getting into antibiotics production again and not just buying them. Yeah.
And what sort of topics will people expect to see then if they sign up for the webinar series?
Yeah, we will start with a guest presentation by Dr. Renz talking about the market, the needs, the dosage forms, and the trends, really giving an outline of what is happening. This is the one I personally look the most to, because I really hope to learn something there. And then we will pick it up from there and see what we can do as a equipment provider to address some of these challenges. So we will have presentations on all parts of the supply chain, from API production, OSD, both in tablets and capsules, injectables, and inspection. So really the full portfolio for all dosage forms. And we have 4 of our sites have come together to generate this content.
Fantastic. Well, the series kicks off on October the 27th.
Exactly.
And the link for not just that webinar, but the whole series will be above the video. So if people would like to sign up, I think it runs all the way through to February, if I remember looking.
Yeah, we will have a presentation around every 2 weeks. We target the Christmas break. And one of the unifying themes will be also the topic of containment, operator protection. What are efficient ways to do it? And you can see it in the background here. I chose today not to sit in a meeting room, or actually it's our training room in our new OSD customer center. And in the background, you can see a high protect OEB5 capsule fillers, which might be a bit over-designed, over-engineered for antibiotics production. This would be more for an oncology product. But I really thought this is kind of the theme here, how can we do cost-efficient production, but still really do something, protect the environment and protect the operator.
Fantastic. Well, look, I will make sure the link is, as I say, above the video so people can sign up. And it is free, by the way, people. So there's no cost. You can sign up and get loads of information. And it runs all the way from October through to February next year. So, guys, so you're going to say, Andreas? Sorry.
Yeah, and you can, of course, of course, you're absolutely welcome and invited to join all the sessions, but you can also pick the topics which interest you the most. So you can register individually and join whatever you want to see.
Fantastic. Right. So, Andreas, what I'll do then is I will put the link above the video. One final question then. I must ask you before we leave. What do you see the future hold then in terms of pharma going forward now? One big question to finish the interview with. What do you see some of the big trends going forward for 2022, for example?
We will see a return of the small batch topics. So I think 2020, 2021, we're very much again back to high speed, high output production. And now we're seeing that, the small batch topics, the orphan drugs, they're really becoming hot again, So COVID is getting on the back burner. It's, things are established and now we're back to the old pipeline. So.
All right, well, there you go. You heard it here from Andreas first, people. So, look, well, Andreas, it's lovely to see you, and hopefully we can catch up in person and not too distant future.
Absolutely.
I've sent to us. what other big shows for the rest of the year Syntegon will be at? Because I know obviously we've just finished Interfex in the US. CPHI is coming up. Have you got a presence at CPHI?
Yes, we'll be at CPHI. We will have a booth there. So I will personally not be there, but we will have a booth. So please feel free to join there and join us there. We already had a couple of shows now. We were in Paris, we were at the Fachpark, we were in the US. And of course, the big one we're all looking forward to a lot is 𝐼MA next year.
Of course, next year. And I'm looking forward to that as well.
That is our Super Bowl, you know.
Well, hopefully I'll be there as well. We can catch up in person finally there. Then if
latest there, I will meet you, definitely, promised.
Fantastic. Well, Andreas, that's all we've got time for now. And thank you for taking time out. And you're very busy schedule to do this at the last minute. So I really appreciate that. So viewers,
we're flexible.
Like your production lines, Andreas, obviously.
Exactly.
So there you go, viewers. I hope you found that useful. If you'd like to know more about the trends, the challenges, and about antibiotic production in general, then please make sure to sign up for the Syntegon webinar series, which I say starts next week on October the 7th, and the link will be above the video. But if you want to know more about pharmaceutical manufacturing in general anyway, Syntegon obviously have lots of experts around all the different phases and stages that you might need to have. You might have any questions about. So make sure you contact them directly as well, or leave some comments and questions for Andreas below. He's very active on LinkedIn. I know he loves to answer any questions you might put on below the video as well. So Andreas,
looking forward, fruitful discussion, many questions. We're always here to help you.
Brilliant. Well, Andreas, as always, thank you very much for taking time to see me. Look after yourself, and viewers, thank you for watching. As always, until next time, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.